Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Dublin. We are here for day one of the World Para Swimming Allianz European Championships. It's day one of 7. We'll be right here bringing you the action until next Sunday. It's 10 o'clock local time. I'm Paul Noble. I'll be taking you through the action this week. Next to me is Liz Johnson. Welcome, Liz.
Well, hi, Paul. Always a pleasure to join you.
Yeah, the stadium here in Dublin looking great for this first morning of action. We've got the supporters in there. The Italians seem to be out in force this morning. A lot of action to look forward to. It's the heat sessions this morning. These swimmers will be trying to make their way through to the finals tonight. There we are, it's heats all the way, starting off with the men's and women's 200 freestyle. Again, a range of different classes. We'll see here we have swimmers with a physical impairment, swimmers with a visual impairment, and also swimmers with intellectual impairments taking place in these heat sessions this morning. There's your sessions there. Range of distances, 50 metres, 100 metres, and a range of classes as well. So lots to look forward to, Liz. Anything take your fancy this morning?
I think with the Europeans, the thing I love is the opportunity for a lot of youngsters and new talent to get out. And we're midway to the Paralympic Games, Tokyo 2020, so it'll be really interesting to see the strength and depth that the different countries are starting to bring to these competitions.
Yeah, we've seen some great stars emerge at the European Championships in the past and build towards the global competitions. And I wonder if we're going to see anyone emerge today and this week here in Dublin. Well, I have to say, the arena here, the National Aquatic Centre, looking really good. They've done it up very, very well, haven't they, for this event?
Yeah, I've never been to Ireland before, and I'm impressed with how well dressed the whole arena is. There's branding everywhere, the themes are really good, and it's setting up to be a really good competition.
Well, the first race is just about to come, and that is heat number 1 of the men's 200 freestyle S5. Those of you unfamiliar with para swimming, the S5 class right in the middle of the range for the S1 to S10, which are those for physical impairment. So S1 being the most severe physical impairment, S10 being the least impaired. And they'll be out shortly after we get our officials onto the deck. Resplendent in their blue World Para Swimming t-shirts. We'll have officials, local officials, and also some officials from around the world for para swimming. Some well-known faces that we know when we go to all these competitions, Liz.
Yeah, and I always like to see people that used to man my lane when I was swimming. It's always exciting to see that they come and support these events, and they're very loyal, these officials.
There's a line-up for the first event. Antonio Fantin from Italy goes in the fast lane. Lane number 4 next to Theo Courin from France. So the referees and technical delegates and starters just being announced to the arena here in Dublin. If you do want to tweet us, you'll see there the hashtag Dublin 2018, just on that big banner there at the end of the pool. 37 countries taking part in these championships, and quite a number of them on show in this first session. We didn't do a tally, maybe we should have done that, Liz.
There's still time.
Good, good, you're right on it. So I'll try and give you a mention if you do tweet it. Liz has got the computer open. You love your Twitter, Liz, don't you?
You do this to me every time.
You should be used to it now. There's Arnos Petricek in the stands there, the world record holder from the Czech Republic, watching on his teammates. This morning you have one of the Czech swimmers going in for this first event. It's Peter Andersek, the oldest actually of all the swimmers in this one. 3 teenagers taking part in this very first heat, including the 2 favourites for this one, Antonio Fantin. What a swim he had last year in the Mexico World Championships, taking the title in the 400 freestyle. There's Ivo Roca from Portugal. So the swimmers in this one, they are 6 swimmers in the first heat, 6 swimmers in the second. And they'll be vying for the top 8 places. Make it into that final. So the fastest 8 times from those 2 heats will progress to the final this evening. So we might see some cagey swimming. It could be pretty comfortable qualification for some swimmers, Liz.
Yeah, these heats are just about getting in and getting a solid swim under your belt, settling the nerves and getting a place in the finals this evening.
So Antonio Fantini from Italy will start as the favourite for this one. Theo Kurin, though, has made great progress over the last couple of years. He won the silver medal in the World Championships last year in Mexico. There's Theo Kurin. There is the imposing figure of Peter Andrusek from the Czech Republic. So his teammates in the stands watching on. So a couple of swimmers going from the blocks, a couple in the water. All depends on the disability of the swimmer, their impairment. Both swimmers on the blocks. Got towels on the blocks just to stop the abrasions for that. That is allowed in the rules. You have to get it cleared with the referees first. But a great start there in the centre lane.
Then we see Antonio Fantini there in lane 4, not going from the block because he's getting straight up and straight into his stroke as his legs, doesn't get any propulsion from his legs at all. But as we can see here, nice high arm stroke, high stroke rate as well, and comfortably already into the stroke as we come to the end of this first 50 metres.
Yeah, Fantini, I remember that 400 in Mexico when he won the gold medal. And his teammate, Ciardo, was a long way ahead when they got past around about the 300-metre mark in that 400. And Fantini showed great strength at the end of that 400 to come back really, really strong to take the gold medal. Incredible strength, actually. And he's looking very good in these early stages there. Antonio Fantini just coming past us in the commentary position, heading towards the halfway point. You'll see the red markers there, which indicate 5 metres to go in that length. He goes over in a very good split there in 1:11.94. So Fantini is going to have a very big lead over Theo Kurin from France. Around about 9 seconds the advantage for the Frenchman. And in third spot, it looks like the other teenager in this one, Huerta Polza from Spain. But the teenagers showing them the way home. Should be comfortable for these 3, I think.
Absolutely, and as we said, in this heat, it's just about getting a lane for the final. So Theo Kurin, he'll know that Fantini's gone off quite quickly, but he'll also know that he doesn't need to go all out this morning. So even though he's only 18 years old, he's very experienced already, and we've seen him develop on the international stage. But here we see Fantini, there we see Theo Kurin going the other way, so he's got a sizable lead, and he'll just be now stroking and be happy to get these nerves under his away this morning, and he'll be excited for the final this evening.
Well, we said it's all about getting a lane for this final, but I wonder if Antonio Fantini wants to just lay down a marker. World record held by his teammate Francesco Bocciardo, set that just back in June in Italy, and that time stands at 2:24.25, so not too far away there for Antonio Fantini. 2:26.60 for the Italian 17-year-old, and very good start there for the Italian team and for Antonio Fantini. The Italians really been building up their strength recently, haven't they?
Yeah, and we've seen here as Theo Kurin comes into touch there, comfortable swim for him. Another nation who again are building. The Italians and the French turned up in Mexico City with a lot of youngsters at last year's World Championships, and it does breed a sense of you want to be on that team, you want to be part of your country's success. And as we've seen them grow and grow and grow, and now they have a breadth of all classifications. They're starting to get a spread, and there Fantini looking comfortable, youth on his side, as we like to say, starting off. He'll be happy with that this morning.
Yeah, he'll be delighted with that, I'm sure. 2:26.60. Antonio Fantini faster than the entry time that he had for this event. That was back in 2:32, so a big improvement on the time that he set to enter this event. You see from the start there, Liz, 2 swimmers going from the blocks. They have lower limb disabilities. But Antonio Fantine right up and into his stroke and immediately into the lead.
Yeah, and we saw he got that benefit of getting up and into the stroke, whereas those athletes with the limb deficiencies, they use the momentum that they generate off the block to get them up and moving. So there is a range. You've got to play to your strengths. That's the whole point of para swimming. But there we can see Fantine's leg just dragging behind, causing... He's not able, he doesn't have the core stability to be able to keep them straight, but it doesn't matter because he generates such power with that arm stroke.
Yeah, Fantine crossing over a little bit with the hands there just to try and keep the body in as straight a position as possible. Antonio Fantine will take that one. I think we have a confirmed result now on the scoreboard. We're just looking out for that one on the scoreboard. Of course, anything that we do say in commentary, we'll just give the catch-all proviso there that we're only saying what we see. It's up to the officials whether it's an official result or not. But it looks like we do have an official result now. Antonio Fantine takes that one ahead of Theo Curin and ahead of Luis Huerta Holza. 6 swimmers in the next heat, so the top 2 will be safely into the final. And the Spanish swimmer and the Portuguese swimmer Ivo Roca will be watching this second heat with interest to see if they are in the top 8 times. Well, quite a fast start, Liz, wasn't it? Good swim.
Yeah, people use different strategies when entering these heats. Some like to get in and blow the cobwebs away and put the markers down, and others like to feel their way into the meet. But there we saw Antonio Fantine definitely getting in and showing us all what he's capable of. And this evening could be an exciting race.
And I wonder if his teammate's going to do the same in this next heat. Francesco Bocciardo, the world record holder, recently took that record from Daniel Diaz, from the great Brazilian.
Yeah, it's shaping up to be an exciting 200 freestyle going into Tokyo when we get all of the continents back together.
Heat number 2 will be coming out now. See them under that big European Championships banner at the side of the pool. There's the lineup. World record holder Francesco Bocciardo in lane number 4. Next to the experienced Irishman, the first Irish swimmer to make an appearance here in Dublin, James Scully, goes in lane 3. Well, we're speaking to Irish coach this morning, Jim Laverty. He says it's great to see James Scully here in his home championships. He wanted to hold on, he wanted to retire after Rio in 2016, but decided to hold on for these championships in his hometown.
Yeah, it's so exciting for the Irish swimmers that they have got this major in their own country, so that all their friends and family that have supported them all over the years. There he is, James Scully. He wants to swim, he wants to give something back. It's nice to get your supporters to be able to see you in action live.
It is. You know about that, Liz, being in London in 2012. Great atmosphere there as well, isn't it?
Yeah, knowledgeable crowd, and that has carried on, and I think that we see that now with Dublin hosting these European Championships.
Oh, there is Scully. I wonder what he can do in this one. How he's worked it out, James Scully. Because he's got the world record holder next to him, Bocciardo, and also Antonio Ponce Bertran from Spain. And successful championships in 2017 World Championships in Mexico. Of course, the Mexican World Championships, a lot of countries were absent for that. It was rearranged because of the earthquake.
Yeah, and I think that then meant that we didn't see some of the big hitters that we're used to seeing, but it really gave an opportunity for us to see some fresh blood and for some youngsters or some maybe people who had not had the experience before stepping up, and we got to see some household names. And we did see Ponce Bertran winning the 100 breaststroke in his category, and Francesco Bocciardo, another great swimmer. And here we see a lot different to that first heat. These 3 guys in the middle lanes have all gone out together.
Yeah, Ponce Bertran a little bit slower than the first heat for Antonio Fantine, but these 2 guys in the middle look very comfortable. Francesco Bocciardo, again, I'd say probably better known as a 400 freestyler. He's moved down into the S5 class. Yeah, the longest distance he can swim is 200 now. So So a little bit more of a sprint for the Italian. Great overhead shot there. Ponce Bertrand on the right and Bocciardo on the left in the two centre lanes. There's two yellow markers, are lanes 4 and 5. Lane 4 closest to us. James Scully looking good though. The Irish swimmer in lane number 3, going over clear in 3rd spot. He's had a great career, James Scully. Been on the Irish team for a number of years now. Get 2 Paralympics in Rio and in London as well. Was a medalist in this event in the World Championship. So one of Ireland's most successful in recent years.
Yeah, and James Scully will have that advantage of being in the second heat, so he will have seen what the guys in the first heat did, so he knows what he's got to do. He knows that a 3rd place finish, as long as he's not too far behind these leaders, should get him a place in tonight's final, and he can conserve as much energy to try and please the home crowd. But here we see Ponce Bertrand and Bocciardo, who've kept each other company most of the way. Now Ponce Bertrand starting to slow off. And because again, you don't need to go all out in this heat. And then we see contrasting strokes, even though both have similar impairments, both using their upper body strength.
Yeah, quite similar technique to his teammate Bocciardo. Just kind of reaching out with that left arm, slight impairment in the left arm and the hand there. For Bocciardo, it's going to be a few seconds slower than the first heat. Actually eased off quite a bit in that last 50, around about 5 or 6 seconds down, but he's ended up about 8 seconds down on his teammate. But Bocciardo takes that one, 2:34.22. Ponce Bertrand in 2nd spot, and it looks like James Scully is going to book his place in that final. Comes in just under the 3-minute mark in 2:58 for James Scully. It's a decent time for him. We'll be pleased to get under that 3-minute mark for Scully. Not too far away from the time that he actually swam when he won a medal back in the World Championships in 2013. So consistent stuff for James Scully.
Yeah, definitely. I'd love to be swimming the same time that I was 5 years ago.
Wouldn't we all? Maybe it's 15 years for me.
Here we saw a lot more of an even pace start from these swimmers in this second heat. And more starting in the water, and they were more controlled down that first length. But you, like I said before, you get that advantage when you're in the second heat. You know what you've got to do to get into that final.
Well, James Scully was right up with the 2 leaders in the early stages, pleasing the home crowd. He's got a bit of support in this morning, the Irish team. Good to see the Irish flags there. And there is the turn. These guys with the lower limb impairments, not getting too bad of a turn there, these two, but there is Bocciardo. You just see turning out his hands at the end of the stroke there. It's because of the impairment there in his hands. He's reaching in there. Very, very strong upper body though, very strong shoulders.
Yeah, and Bocciardo using his experience there, as you said, back in Mexico at the World Championships at the end of last year. Fantine came from behind a long way down, so he knows that he's got a fight on his hands this evening.
Well, Bocciardo takes that second heat, should secure his place in the final ahead of Ponce Bertrand and James Scully, so we could have an Irish finalist. I think Scully qualifying in 5th position at the moment, so he should make his way into the final tonight. So that's one to watch for the home crowd from Ireland. Now we see just at the right of the screen, underneath that hashtag, Summer should be making the entrance onto poolside. And some of the swimmers just getting out of the water there. It's being peeled over. It's the Iceland swimmer Ingvarsson making his way back to warm down pool. Have you been on a tour of the pool, Liz? See what the facilities are like here?
It was a self-guided tour, but yes, I have, and it's an impressive venue, and the athlete lounge is out the back, around the back of the swim down pit, so there's a lot of space. You can end up walking a long way at this competition pool if you're not careful.
I think I was here many years ago, well, about 15 years ago, when it had just first opened, but it certainly looks in good shape now. It's aged pretty well. Swimmers make their way out. Here they come for the next heat, and that is the women's 200 freestyle S5. We have the favourite in the centre lane, fastest qualifier, Inbal Pizarro from Israel. There's Peggy Zontag from Germany. There's Pizarro. Next to Ariola Trimmy. Yeah, it's a combined event, this one. S4s and S5s swimming together, but only one set of medals, so only 8 swimmers making their way to the final. And we have 2 Turkish swimmers in the outside lanes here. Of the 5 swimmers, Zontag, Inbal Pizarro, Ariola Trimmy in the centre lanes. Again, really, with only 10 competitors here taking the start, should be fairly comfortable qualification for the 3 in the middle.
Yeah, and that's a luxury that you can be afforded when you're one of the more experienced athletes. But you know, if you've got a lane, you've got a chance. In some of these, you should never rule out an outside burner.
There's Trimmy starting in the water. Next to Inbal Pizarro. Good start there for Peggy Zontag in lane number 3. Fast reaction time. Sevilla Turk as well at the top. Good start from the young Turkish swimmer as well.
Yeah, the best start there coming from Peggy Zontag in lane 3 from Germany. But as we said, different impairment types mean that different parts of the race play into your hands, and Peggy Zontag and Ozturk there in the outside lane definitely using the start, but we can already see the experienced Inbal Pizarro of Israel up and into the lead as we come into the final 5 metres of this first 50.
Yeah, kind of real contrast in the type of impairments as well. There's Inbal Pizarro, great technique there, just pulling herself around the wall, not using the legs at all. It's all arms there, and a good turn from Ozturk as well up there in lane number 6 and swimming without any arms. She's just 14 years of age, Ozturk, youngest swimmer in this field, and she's just using that propulsion. It's kind of like a fly kick, isn't it? Breathing to the side.
Yeah, and those athletes who don't have arms and rely solely on their legs really feel the burn on these longer events, because the quads are the biggest muscles in the body, and so they're working so hard and there's nowhere else for the lactic acid to go. So we see them excel more so in the sprints, whereas someone like Pizarro here is turning at the 100 metres. It just up and builds and just gets stronger and stronger as an event goes on, because they get into that rhythm, they get the momentum, and they actually lose their speed at the turn because there's no push off from the legs.
Yeah, 2 great technicians, Pizarro and Ariola Trimmy. Pizarro has been in the Israeli team from way back, 2001 I think was her debut for the Israeli team. Wasn't that your debut year, Liz?
Yeah, well, yeah, my major debut year. We were at the same competition, but she's still going, and I most definitely am not.
Oh, it's looking good. We can enjoy this last turn again. Enjoy the technique there. Pretty good. She just swings round there and straight into the stroke with the right arm. And Trimmy with it 1 class lower than Inbal Pizarro. She's slightly lower in the water. A bit more of an arm impairment for Ariola Trimmy. I wonder if we'll be able to see a shot of Ariola Trimmy, because she really does a good job of keeping that head steady, the Italian, doesn't she?
Yeah, considering she has such little movement in her torso and obviously none in her legs at all, she really managed. From the front, you wouldn't notice really that she had anything wrong with her. She, like you said, she is such a great technician. But here, we haven't seen Pizarro's stroke break down at all.
Pizarro already got 8 European Championship medals to her name, from stretching back to 2001. I wonder if she's going to make it another tonight. Good swim there, 3:02 for Pizarro, so comfortable for her. Ariola Trimmy should be joining her in the final. 3:17.42 for Trimmy, and then Peggy Zontag as well. German swimmer. Should join those ones, the 19 years of age German swimmer. Been coming through the ranks in recent years. Peggy Sonntag, seen her at a few competitions.
Yeah, and she's sporting a good suntan at the moment because the Germans have been in Club La Santa in Lanzarote for their, not all of them, just her training group. Instead of going to altitude, they went to the sunshine to train there. But there is Pizarro. Comfortable swimming for her. She'll be excited for this evening.
And Ozturk is in lane number 6 in a very good time, 3:52.11 for the 14-year-old from Turkey, Ozturk, and that's faster than her entry time of 4:05.74. So one more swimmer to come. That's Ustun from Turkey.
There we see the best start, as we said right at the beginning, coming from Sonntag and Ozturk. But from that moment on, once Pizarro caught them, there really was no looking back. No question of the leader. And that high elbow that she gets there, you see, and she managed to stay very flat in the water for somebody who doesn't have a leg kick. Contrast in turn there, Peggy Sonntag using a more traditional tumble turn up and into her stroke. Again, not using masses of underwater kick because she's so small, so she's quicker on top of the water.
Again, different types of disabilities playing out as the race progressed there. He's on tag with that very fast start, but Pizarro wants to get into the arm stroke, using those powerful arms to pull herself through and to take that heat, number 1 of the women's. Just waiting for the official results to come up. Ustun still actually swimming there, the Turkish swimmer, so that's why we haven't got the official result just yet. So Özge Ustun, 23-year-old from Turkey, will be the final swimmer here. She entry time of 5:44. Well, she's just coming up to the final few meters now. Inbal Pizarro looking across at the Turkish swimmer as she touches the wall. We're just waiting for the time to become official, and 5:47 for the Turkish swimmer Ustun. So 3 seconds outside that entry time for Özge Ustun from Turkey. Teammate had better swim, 3:52.11 for Ozturk. She's in 4th place. She'll be looking for the times in this second heat, but Pizarro, Trimmy and Sonntag clear in the front of the field. The top 3 there should make their way to the final with only 5 in the second heat. The second heat will be on their way out. Now 2 Italians in this one, Arianna Talamona and Monica Poggioni, side by side.
Yeah, we did mention how strong this Italian squad is becoming, and we can see that here. Even though Ariola Trimmy is swimming up a classification, they've still got 3 representatives in this 200 metres freestyle for the S5 women. And it's great to see that, because that domestic rivalry really pushes everybody, so that when they come to this arena and they come to these races, they're not scared because they've raced people at home.
Yeah, and it's high quality racing as well. These 3 Italian swimmers will be right up there in the European rankings and the world rankings as well. The Italian team, I remember them, with Beijing, I think they had a very, very small contingent, maybe about 4 or 5. Not sure what the team size is now for the Italians, but do you remember in the World Championships last year, they were continually on the medal podium. They had a great championship, didn't they?
Yeah, and they've got depth now and spread of classification groups. I remember, as you say, in Beijing, they had a very good S11 contingent, and we heard the anthem a number of times. But now they give themselves more, they're more represented in more events, and that can only be a good thing for their national programme.
There's Poggioni, winner of the World Series last year. Para World Series, it's in its 2nd year now. It's been good to kind of tie in all the major competitions around the world together. We always had kind of an unofficial circuit before. It's all been tied together now, and some new competitions have come up now, including one in Italy.
Yeah, well, exactly. That just reflects the strength that their national programme has.
So Boyaca from Turkey, another one of these Turkish swimmers. They built up the squad as well. Turkey are coming through. They've got a lot of youngsters.
Yeah, and it's difficult sometimes. I mean, we're so used to many youngsters bursting onto the scene and dominating from the off, but it's important to remember that many nations, they nurture their youngsters, bring them to these meets for experience, and then maybe in 7 or 8 years' time, that's when we see them really coming to fruition and to the forefront and then starting to dominate. But here, as we expected, the 2 Italians in the centre lanes leading out this second heat.
Talamona in lane number 4, Borgioni in lane number 5. Borgioni just with the lead there in the furthest lane.
Yeah, and that underwater shot really shows us the contrasting styles between the 2 swimmers. Even though they're both only swimming with their upper arms, the way that their legs drag really make a difference to how you manage to balance out your stroke. And there we saw Talamona not able to straighten her legs, so her knees are bent, causing more of a drag and changing the angle that she races at, so which means that she's got to generate a lot more power to overcome that. Whereas we see Borgioni there, nice straight flat legs with a much higher stroke rate down that first 100 metres.
Yeah, Borgioni using that relaxed style there to lead them through. 126.47. Talamona's right there. Talamona has been successful in the European Championships before, won a few medals previously. Borgioni quite new onto the scene. This is our first European Championships, and Talamona, 24-year-old now, pulling up alongside her teammate. And Italy could have a very good start to this competition. They were the 2 guys in the 200 freestyle for the S5, and these 2 as well, setting the pace now in this second heat. But Borgioni still leads, but Talamona had a good turn there.
Yeah, and they were contrasting turns, and Borgioni went in and did a touch turn, so registered a quicker time because her hand touched the wall first. Whereas Talamona did a tumble turn, so we had to wait for her feet to go on the wall. But here we see them very evenly matched coming down this final 25 metres, and it'll just be about who wants to get the honour going into the final this evening.
Yeah, it looks like Talamona wants that one. She's picked up her stroke rate. Borgioni not giving it away, though, very easily, but I think Talamona's going to take this one just in the closing stages. Talamona comes through there, and she will take that one in a time of 2:56, just half a second ahead of her teammate, and that's faster than Pizarro went in that first heat. Faster. Well, Italy look like they're going to be 1, 2, and 4. Dariola Trimi with only Val Pizarro spotting the 4 Italians. Borgioni looks quite happy with that.
Yeah, I actually think it might be a best time for Borgioni. She went 2:57.9 last year, so that would suggest that that's why she's so happy.
Good.
Get in and surprise yourself with a best time in the morning when you I assume aren't trying as hard as you would do in the evening.
And the Italians in good shape there in this 200 freestyle S5. Gina Butcher from Germany is in 3rd place, and Timi Boyaca from Turkey in 4th place, with Dominika Mikabad in 5th position. So I wonder if that is going to be good enough, probably good enough for Boyaca to make it into the final alongside Talamona, Borgioni and Butcher. There's the 2 Italians side by side, facing each other as they go up the pool. 1 minute, it was eyeball to eyeball there almost.
Yeah, and that can work in your favour, or it can actually put you off. So it's really hard. If you've got a completely different race plan, then you can get sucked into somebody else's race plan. And obviously in the heats is not such a big deal, but it is something to be aware of going into the finals.
especially with this 200 freestyle. Tactics could come into it. The longer races, maybe not so important on the smaller races, the shorter races. 50 freestyle, just a splash and dash, as they say. But in the 200, things can change about. Tactics will be employed. Still one swimmer to come in, Mikova. Dominika Mikova from the Czech Republic. Just coming into the finish now. Two Italians having a chat there at the end. Czech Republic swimmer just finishing now. And that time of 5:25 for Mikova. That's a 10-second improvement on the entry time, so she'll be pleased with that one. So from the Czech Republic. Result of the heat number 2, Talamona and Boggioni top the table for that one. The two Italians, 1 and 2, should qualify them for the final quite comfortably. My reckoning, I think the two swimmers, Butcher, Voyager, also make it into that final this evening. It's quite a relaxed schedule for us this morning. Doesn't feel as hectic as it sometimes is in these heat sessions.
I think that is sometimes the benefit of a continental competition, you know, slightly less competitors than we can experience at the world competitions, but equally exciting. And like I said, it gives us the opportunity to really get to know and experience the newcomers or people who maybe haven't broken into the scene before. And here we have 3 heats of an SM8 200-meter individual medley for men.
Yeah, and talking about the youngsters, 4 of these 5 starters are teenagers. I wonder if there's any future stars there. It's Carlos Martinez Fernandez enjoying himself. Spanish swimmer. Again, it's a combined event, SM7s and SM8s competing against each other. There's only 8 swimmers will make it to the final, so the SM7 swimmers are swimming upper class, or swimming against swimmers with less impairments. There's Islam Dokeye from Belgium, he'll go in lane 2. Closest to us, Mark Malyar from Israel. The 18-year-old goes in lane 3. Andrei Trusov from Ukraine, he'll be in lane number 4. Spanish swimmer, I've already seen Carlos Martinez Fernandez, goes in lane number 5. Malyar now in lane number 6. Ukrainian swimmer Yuri Bozinski. Bozinski will be very strong on the backstroke, very strong backstroker, but his individual medley, so 4 lengths of the pool. And the swimmers will have different strengths in their strokes, so we could see things change about a little bit. And number 4, Trusov, just been held on the blocks. A tremor in his leg there. All up into the butterfly stroke, 1-arm butterfly there from Spanish swimmer Carlos Martinez Fernandez.
Yeah, great starts there from the top end of the pool, but the exciting thing about this 200-meter individual medley is that the lead has the potential to change, because, as you said, Paul, different strengths on different strokes for different athletes, and again, a variety of impairments. So it does really play out, and you have to watch the entire race. But yeah, great start here from Dokyev, the Belgian, down in lane 2. Double leg amputee, good strong butterfly. There we see the Spanishman. That's an interesting underwater footage of Martinez Fernandez doing backstroke with a breaststroke leg kick to try and keep himself as balanced as possible.
Yeah, it seems to be very effective for the Spanish swimmer there. He's alongside man, this is to us, Mark Malyar from Israel, who has gone into a bit of a lead here. Bozinski coming through in lane number 6 now, very strong backstroker, as said Bozinski. He's pulled up alongside the Spanish swimmer. Onto the breaststroke now. Quite often the breaststroke sorts them out, Liz.
Absolutely, it can be. I used to go from last to first on the breaststroke leg, So, and here we see again Martinez Fernandez in lane 5 for Spain. Got a really strong breaststroke. We saw him using it, breaststroke kick on that backstroke, and here we can see him now powering through, trying to give himself as big an advantage as possible before he turns onto that final freestyle leg, and then those people with 2 strong arms start to claw him back in.
Well, the young man, Martinez Fernandez, 19-year-old, swum this pretty well. He was in the World Championships last year, finished 5th in this event, this 200 individual medley. He'll be looking to try force his way onto the medal podium. And second place, Marc Maillard, will be trying to come back now on the Spanish swimmer. But it is Spanish swimmer who's just got the advantage there. Maillard not really making much of an impression on Martinez Fernandez as they come down this freestyle leg. Very strong leg kick there, and using that one arm to great effect, breathing to the opposite side for the Spanish swimmer.
Yeah, and as we come now into the final 5 meters, we'll see Martinez Fernandez breathing to that right side. He won't know that he's got someone catching him, but he's safely through, getting the win in that heat, and breathing to that right side, as you said, Paul, to keep himself as flat as possible, to get the most out of that left arm.
Well, he swam it very well. I think he's got a little bit more in the tank as well. That looked pretty relaxed on the freestyle. Second place, good swim from Marc Maillard, 2:42.03 for Maillard, just outside his best time. Carlos Martinez Fernandez just over the 2:40 mark. That'll be the target for the next heat. And the 2 swimmers coming in, the 2 Ukrainians coming in almost together, Trusov and Bozinski, 2:50.81 and 2:50.95 with 3 heats. That touch might be really important there.
Yeah, you can't afford, when you're in a 3-heat race, you have to go even, because you could end up in a position where actually the final 2 heats both all knock you out. So it does often come down in that first. You want to get your hand to that wall first, because in swimming you can miss out on a place in the final by obviously just 100th of a second, which is devastating.
And it happens more often than not, really, at competitions. There's always going to be somebody who's going to miss out. That's a great underwater shot, isn't it? The Spanish swimmer really with his eyes fixed right forward there. There's the freestyle. He's breathing to the right-hand side. And he's that strong left arm, making sure that gets deep enough to propel himself through the water. He's done a great job, hasn't he? The Spanish swimmer looked really good.
Yeah, he looked like he enjoyed it as well. He gave out a cheeky smile at the end of the race, and when you finish first in that time, you'd have to be really unlucky not to make the final this evening.
There's the confirmed results there. Martinez Fernandez takes that one, 2:40.05. Marc Maillard, 2:42.03. They look in good shape to make that final. Trusov and Bozinski is going to have to watch these next 2 heats with interest. 2:50 might well be the point, cut-off point for the final. Some strong names to come. There's the lineup for heat number 2. Dimos Michelintzakis from Greece, Paralympic champion in 100 butterfly, likely to go out fast, likely to be one of the favourites for this one. Simon Bro as well, the Netherlands swimmer, very strong on the breaststroke. We'll watch out for him later in this 200 metres individual medley. Simon Bro getting the worst start, but he is a lower leg impairment. Expect him to get off the block a little bit slower than the others.
Yes, he just doesn't have the distance, because obviously he doesn't have the legs to propel him. But then once he's up and into his stroke, as we can already see, strong breaststroker, and there is a crossover with butterfly and breaststroke. So as we can see, he's made up a lot of that deficit down this first 50 metres. But as you called it, the 100 fly Paralympic champion, Michelintzakis, getting down that butterfly leg, playing to his strengths. And that's what you have to do on this individual medley. You have to play to your strengths, but not use so much energy that then you blow up on the rest of the race. And we got a good underwater shot there of Simon Bohr, and his legs trailing. He doesn't get a lot of propulsion from those legs because there are no feet on the end, but he's holding his own. He's not letting anyone get too far ahead here.
Interesting, Michelintzakis, he's got that one strong arm on the left-hand side, and his weak arm, he's practically getting nothing from his right arm there, but he's still swinging it over, still keeping the momentum going.
Yeah, because by using that arm, you manage to keep the pace and the strength and get more out of your strong arm, because it's so easy when you're only using one arm to pull a shorter, shallower stroke, and then you don't maximise the efficiency of your good arm. So a lot of people will see, we saw in the previous heat, Martinez Fernandez doing a similar thing, using his stump side to regulate his stroke rate. But here, Mikos Antakis doing a really good, strong breaststroke. Like Simon Boyle, as we said, he's a great breaststroker, but he is actually an SB7 for breaststroke. So he's already a disadvantage compared to the rest of the guys in this race.
It's kind of a great kind of whip action with those two stump legs. The Dutch swimmer, Simon Boyle, gets propulsion from those, and that's pulled him into second position. Spanish swimmer, the youngster, the 18-year-old, is Sergio Martos Minguet from Spain in third place. And one more heat to come, so these swimmers can't be hanging about. Michelintzakis, though, is looking pretty comfortable in the lead. I expect him to go much, much faster in the final. Real quality, the Greek swimmer. Fantastic victory in the 100 butterfly in Rio. And he followed that up, winning that 100 butterfly in Mexico at the World Champs as well. And he will take this one, 2:34. And it looked comfortable on the freestyle there. 2:37 for Simon Boyle. Should be okay for the final, I think. The Spanish swimmer in 2:40.40. So he'll have a chance as well. Again, it's just slower than his teammate Martinez Fernandez in that previous heat. But Michelintzakis, he'll be safe for that final. 2:34.14. He'll be a contender.
Yeah, and he looks like he knew exactly what he was doing from the start to finish. Once you're up and you've got a considerable lead, on that backstroke leg, you can take a sneaky look at where the rest of the field are. And if you know you've got a strong breaststroke, then you just control the race from there and finish with a fair freestyle.
Well, he was in control from the start, Dimos Michelintzakis. See that small arm coming over there on the right-hand side. Some great pictures here from Dublin. Very good camera work there, I have to say.
Yeah, and these overhead shots really give you the opportunity to see the difference in styles, techniques and impairments that these swimmers get to use, or have to use.
He's used what he had to great effect there, Michelintzakis, 2:34.14. He leads the field, and with 6 swimmers in this final heat, Michelintzakis and Simon Boyle safely into the final. The others will have to watch this final heat, see if they will make it. 2 Spanish swimmers looking in good shape at the moment. Marc Maillard in 5th position, looking okay. And again, probably this final heat, 2:50, might well be the cut-off point for these ones. But we have 4 very fast swimmers in the centre lanes. Andreas Onea from Austria will be the favourite, and interesting to see Evgeny Bodayko as well, one of the most successful swimmers ever in the European Championships. He's swimming up a class though. Be a great effort for him to win a medal here in the S8s.
Yeah, but we've seen him time and time again step up. We first saw him at the European Championships in 2009, and he really has just become a stronger, more mature swimmer. And you never know, you would never bet against him. He loves being the underdog, which he doesn't get very often.
He doesn't. Dumas sums 27 European Championship medals so far to his name. Bodayko, here he is in those white blue shorts. Just on the top of the 2 yellow lanes. In lane number 5, Andreas Onea, the Austrian swimmer. One of the big stars of para swimming in Austria. Again, one of these swimmers swimming with the use of only one arm. Right at the top there. Good start for Diogo Cancela from Portugal. Cancela, one of a growing group of Portuguese swimmer. In fact, it's Golas actually who's got that one, the Polish swimmer. 30.98 for the pole. Cancela in 2nd position. just ahead of the two, Bodaiko and Andreas O'Neill. But swimmers with very similar techniques for the leading three swimmers. Good work there for Andreas O'Neill. Bodaiko is well affected in all four of his limbs, but Andreas O'Neill, again, great shots there, showing the technique that he employs on that backstroke.
Yeah, and there we see the first three swimmers to touch this wall at the end of this backstroke leg, all with one arm, but all using different leg kicks to maximise their efficiency in the water. And it is about, a lot of the time in parasport, it's about adapting what you've got available to you to maximise. So you can't follow a textbook stroke. But here we see Evgeny Borodayko. He is the class lower, but he is a great breaststroker. 27 European medals suggest he's a brilliant all-rounder, which means he's a great medley swimmer. And as you see, he's holding his own in the fight for third place here.
I know they've got the advantage. They know what they have to do from those previous two heats. So Nea would love to get a European gold medal here. He's been a medalist in all the major championships, and a bronze medal in Rio in the breaststroke. Very strong breaststroker. No surprise to see him go ahead of the field, and he's coming down there on the freestyle, breathing to that opposite side again.
Yeah, it just keeps you flat. And we saw in the last heat, Mikkel Zintakis, he actually breathed to the same side, and as a result was slightly on his side. So unless you can maximise then the efficiency of your kick sideways, you do lose a bit in the water, which is why these guys try to see it. And as we see Onea coming in here, he'll comfortably take this win.
I'll keep an eye on the clock there. 2:32.12 for Andreas Onea. Come up with the caption there, not sure that caption was correct, but Andreas Onea, 2:32.12, will take that one, and that should comfortably qualify him for the final. Just a little bit faster than Mitchell Zakis, just a little bit of out of puff there for Andreas Onea. He worked pretty hard on that one, a decent time.
Yeah, Onea's a great breaststroker, and then so as a result, you can't help yourself sometimes. You use the breaststroke to give yourself that advantage over the freestyle, but it can take a lot out of you. But I'm sure he'll be fine for the final this evening.
Here's the breaststroke, really stretching the lead there for Andreas Onea, 16-year-old from Portugal. Diogo Cancela come up for second position, so good swim there from the youngster. Portuguese swimmer, hosted the last European Championships in Madeira. Wonder if Portuguese swimmers will get on the medal podium again. The young man's done really well. Oh, we do have a disqualification there appearing on our screens, and that's Michael Golas from Poland. First DQ we've seen, and Onea, Cancela, Borodayko will be safely into that final this evening. I say safely, Borodayko in 8th place.
Yeah, he is, but he did have a 6-second buffer tonight, so you've got to be in it to win it. We say it all the time, but if you've got a lane, you've got a chance. So
it was under 2:50 to make it.
Good call, Paul, good call. You know your stuff.
That's what I'm here for. The women's equivalent now, 200 metres individual medley SM8. Interesting line-up for this one. And sits from Croatia, closest to us, at the bottom of your screen there, in lane number 2. Monika Belczewska from Poland in lane number 3. Claire Supio from France in 4. Amelie Winter in 5 from Denmark. And Agnieszka Floriankova from the Czech Republic goes in lane number 6, right up there at the top of the shot. Well, interesting swimmer in lane number 4. That's Claire Supio, the French swimmer, 50 years of age now, Liz.
Yeah, Paul, you can get back in.
Not sure about that. Maybe next year.
Can we have that in writing?
Yeah, go back for the World Championship. Make a big comeback.
Well, she's lead. It's not doing her any harm. Sophia there leading down that first 50 metres and comfortably. Now see what I mean about this shot here? It perfectly shows. Once you get up and into the lead on that butterfly, if you're far enough ahead, you can watch the race a little bit down that backstroke leg and take control of it and try and conserve some energy. Obviously in a heat, you wouldn't do that in a final.
Well, she's doing a decent job at the front of the field. Coming back, Kova right at the top there, 2 lines up from Claire Supio. Claire Supio, interestingly, as I said, 50 years of age, 3 children now. She competed for France in the 1988 Olympic Games in 200 butterfly.
1988, you were swimming then?
I was swimming, yeah. Seoul Olympics, I swam the Paralympics in Seoul. Yeah, it was a great event. Seoul, the Koreans did an excellent job. It was kind of regarded as the birth of the modern Paralympics. It was the first time for a number of years it had been held in the same venues in South Korea, the Paralympics and the Olympics. So I was swam in the same pool as Claire Supio back then.
Did you do 200 fly?
Didn't do 200 fly, just the 100, just the 100.
Well, here we see, again, she's done well here, Supio, to hold on to this lead, because as we can see from that shot, breaststroke, her legs are just flowing behind her. She wasn't getting any propulsion from them. And so it's really difficult then to generate a lot of strength in these, as you start to get to these higher classification groups. That really is a big deficit on that breaststroke leg.
Supio looks really strong in the freestyle. Excellent freestyle stroke there, Liz. Great stuff.
Yeah, and you can see she's generating that power. It's creating that wave of the water there where she can ride along. Her hips are high, her head's flat. She's got a high stroke rate. She looks really comfortable going into this final 5 meters.
She takes that one just under the 3-minute mark. Experienced Danish swimmer Amelie Winter, medalist at the European Championships before. Was quite successful, Amelie Winter, at the Europeans.
Yeah, I think in this S8 classification group, the Europeans, it's a real chance to give yourself that experience and get yourself on that medal table, because as we know, the great Jessica Long of America has dominated the S8 events for a number of years worldwide.
Supio looks happy with that swim in 2:59, just a couple of seconds outside her entry time, but she didn't need to go any faster. She'll qualify herself for the final. There are 6 swimmers in the second heat to come, so top 2 swimmers, if those results are confirmed, will make their way into the final. Again, butterfly looked very good, as you would expect from the Olympic butterfly swimmer. And she was diagnosed with her neurological condition back in 2008, decided to make a comeback into the pool, into para swimming. Quite often we do have that, former Olympic swimmers and other international swimmers making their way into para sport.
Yes, we do, and I think that's a great thing about parasport. And as we can see there, that result confirmed. Thankfully, we get through with no disqualifications, and Supio confirmed as the winner of that heat in 2:59.28. But as you said, Paul, it's great, but we don't always then see the athlete coming back to do the event that they did when they were in the Olympic environment.
Well, 200 fly not available to Claire Supio. Not in the big championships anyway. So the second heat. All right, and ready to go. Another Irish swimmer. With big support here from the home crowd. Another Kelly in line number 2. There she is. Kelly pleased to be taking the start in front of this home crowd. And Dula Duskova from the Czech Republic next to her in line number 3. That's the fastest qualification time here. Xenia Francesca Palazzo in 4 from Italy. Megan Richter from Great Britain making her international debut in line number 5. Hey, Daire Barrezo from Spain in 6. Petra Kachova right up there in lane number 7. Xenia Palazzo from Italy, one of the favourites for this one. Fastest qualification time of all. Megan Richter of Great Britain right up there next to her, one lane up in those yellow lane markers. Very good backstroke of Megan Richter. Was due to make her debut for the Great Britain team in the Mexico World Championships last year, but of course they were postponed because of the Mexico City earthquake, and the Great British team decided not to go to the rearranged championship. So Megan Richter had a little bit of time to wait for her international debut.
Yeah, and that's good, because then when you're in that position, you just can't wait to get started. So she would have come into these European Championships very excited. And as you said, great backstroker. They're taking the lead. She's got a nice flat stroke. Great, because she's got an imbalance down that right-hand side of hers. But there we can see getting a good pull from her left arm. She's doing really well not to be bobbing up and down, which we quite often see from those swimmers when they've got a weakness down one side. But she's using this backstroke to her advantage to try and give herself a great lead as we go. Nice flip turn there onto her breaststroke, minimising the time that she leaves, contrasting to Palazzo's back to breast turn. Both now up and into this breaststroke. I love the breaststroke leg of the 200 medley, but not everyone does.
I quite like the breaststroke as well. And I think Megan Richter is doing okay at the moment, but someone who likes it better by the looks of things is Xenia Palazzo, because she's pulling right up at the side of the Great Britain swimmer Megan Richter. Used the strength on that backstroke to get her the lead, but the Italian looks stronger here on the breaststroke. Good all-round stroke there from the Italian Xenia Palazzo, and she's gone ahead of Megan Richter now. So these two look like they're fighting it out. Good contest for third place behind them. Duskova and the Spanish swimmer Zudairi Barezzo, a 14-year-old from Spain, trying to make their way into the final. And we saw swimmers maybe just on around about the 3:10ish, 3:15 mark with the target, but a good swim here on the second half of this medley from the Italian swimmer Palazzo.
Yeah, Palazzo here really stamping her authority down. As we said, you have to play to your strengths in the 200 medley, so it's really difficult in the early stages to work out what the race is going to look like at the end. So Palazzo going to finish here with about a 5-meter victory over Megan Richter, who can be really happy with the way that her debut swim went.
Yeah, two very good times. 2:52 for Palazzo, 2:56.73 for Megan Richter. And that is the two fastest times of the two heats there. So they'll go in the same lanes in the final, in lane 4 and 5, those two, if the results are confirmed, of course. Palazzo there, 2:52.59. Two of the fastest into that final, with Megan Richter in second position. Still waiting for final swimmer to finish the distance. That's Kachova from the Czech Republic. They're in lane number 7. It's going to be very close for qualification. I think maybe the top 4 in this heat just have made it, and maybe the Irish swimmer Alba Kelly might be the one to miss out. Alba Kelly has gone 3:15.97, and by my reckoning, if there are no disqualifications, that'll put her just out of the reckoning for the final in 9th position. Looks like we have confirmed results. Palazzo, Richter, Duskova and Zudairi Barezzo should make it into that final. I think Alba Kelly is just going to miss out in 9th spot, the Irish swimmer, but she'll be back. Good backstroker Alba Kelly. She'll have events later on in the week. Nice warm-up for her in front of the home crowd.
Yeah, and we spoke to the Irish team earlier, and they said they're looking to get stronger as the week goes on. Their strong events lie at the back end of the week, which is exciting for them to know that they are just going to build their way through this championships, and exciting for their crowd, their supporters who are out in force, and were very, very loud then as Alva touched the wall.
Yeah, great to hear. We like good support. It's great to see the home nation. It'd be excellent to see Ireland pick up a few medals, wouldn't it?
It really just lifts the meet, and we saw that with David Grachat in Funchal when he won his medal in the 400-metre freestyle.
Yeah, very emotional medal there for David. The Portuguese swimmer, the only one to win a home medal at the last European Championships in Madeira. Moving on to the next event, 100 breaststroke SB9. We have 2 heats again in this one. 6 in the first heat, 6 in the second heat. And up there, closest to us, Moser from Turkey. Adam Karas in line 3 from Germany. Dmytro Vanzenko from Ukraine in 4. Kalinowski from Poland in 5. Solberg from Norway in line 6. Kero Senyo from Spain in line number 7. This is the SB9 class. Swimmers with a minimal impairment will be affected typically just in one limb. Good start there for Vanzenko, and bronze medalist in Rio, but in the individual medley, so experienced man from the Ukraine leads them through the halfway point.
Yeah, Vanzenko, it comes to something when you're the oldest in the heat at 22 years old, but he really took it down that first 50. And again, we'll see a range of different types of technique on this. And he's got a very short, sharp pull, but he's getting a lot of height, a great recovery, a high recovery, and he's dominating this first heat, blowing those cobwebs away. Breaststroke is one of those things, if you try and take the pace off so much, it just goes all wrong and your body position changes. So he's looking good. He'll be happy with this race. He'll be happy, always happy to get the touch.
And again, top 2 positions should have guaranteed their place in the final. 6 in the second heat, so 112.09 for Vanzenko. A couple of seconds outside his entry time, so look decent there for the Ukrainian. Kalinowski from Poland, the 21-year-old. He's in second position. There's Rafael Polanowski. Should have made his way into that final as well, those top 2. He competed at the European Championships 4 years ago. It's the first time we've seen him since then. He's a breaststroke finalist on that occasion. Kalinowski back in and should be a breaststroke finalist again, and in good position here, the 2 swimmers. But there's Vanzenko keeping it pretty straight, pretty balanced there, that red cap. And the Ukrainians, again, we talked about strong countries, we talked about the Irish building towards the end of the week. I would expect the Ukrainians to be strong all the way through.
Yeah, they have a great squad, and you want to do well when you're in that squad. And then we see Vanzenko being confirmed as the winner of that Heat 1. Kalinowski, again, like you said, Paul, top 2, top 3 would look to make it into that final tonight.
Yeah, an important touch there for the 3rd position. 118 for Adam Karas, getting ahead of the 2 swimmers in the 119 range. So they might be in a little bit of danger here. We have the lineup for the second heat. Aerial shrink Martinez from Spain, goes in line number 2. Tamas Tok, experienced Hungarian, goes in line number 3. Denis Dubrov from Ukraine, silver medalist at the last Europeans and at the Rio Paralympic Games. Stefano Raimondi from Italy goes in line 5. Tanja Strasdik from Czech Republic goes in 6. Tomislav Pisa from Croatia goes in lane number 7. Good start there for Denis Dubrov. Italian Stefano Raimondi was also going well there in the early stages. The Italian, another newcomer to the Italian team, another find for the Italians.
Yeah, the Italians at the moment, they keep doing that. They keep going to competitions, and we're seeing new faces, but they're doing well and they're holding their own. And as we said, once the team starts to do well, it raises the profile of the sport within the country, and then more people get involved. And Denis Dubrov, this is exactly what happened to him for the Ukrainians. He burst onto the scene and he's turned out to be a phenomenal all-round swimmer. And as you can see, the silver medalist from the Paralympic Games in Rio, stroking out here, lovely stroke, very balanced, different, contrasting to his teammate in the previous heat. But here, he's taken the win, slightly more pushed, but a quicker time, 108.92. And barring any disqualifications, he will be the fastest qualifier for this evening.
Yeah, good swim from Dubrov. Raimondi as well, 1:10.00 for the Italians. And the Ukrainians and the Italians side by side in the spectator gallery, so the flags are waving there for those two. But Denis Dubrov will take that one. He'll be top of the tree when it comes to the final, and Raimondi will be second place actually, ahead of Dmytro Vanzenko, Ukrainian from that first heat. But I would expect the Vanzenko to be a little bit faster there. Tamas Tolt had a good swim as well, the Hungarian, but there's the margin at the end, just over a second, 1.08 seconds, just a stroke and a bit there for Denis Dubrov, the advantage over Stefano Raimondi. But the Italian looked good. They have a chance of the medals tonight, finishing 1:10.00. Tamas Tolt 1:12.97, and maybe those two there in 4 and 5 might just make that one. Frank Martinez might just sneak in there, because the other first heat 1:18s and 1:19s were 3rd to 5th. And I think the Spanish swimmer is going to scrape in 7th place with Adam Karas, the final swimmer from Germany, in 8th place in that final. Oh, we're seeing all the distances today, Liz. One length of the pool now for the 50 freestyle. Going up the opposite end, you'll just see at the right-hand side of your screen, the swimmers preparing for this one. And we're into the S6 class for the men's 50 freestyle. There is the lineup. Missing swimmer in one of the centre lanes, lane number 5. We do have Mustafa Sar from Turkey in 1, David Sanchez Sierra in 2, next to his Spanish teammate Alejandro Rojas Cabrera. Van Hoofwegen from the Netherlands goes in lane number 4. Dino Sinovcic from Croatia next to his teammate as well, Leonardo Renic, going in 6 and 7. Van Hoofwegen, Netherlands swimmer, will be the favourite for this one, this particular heat. There'll be no hanging about here. We've got 7 swimmers in the heat to follow. So the swimmers just have to make sure of their position, make sure they're in that top 8 to qualify for that final this evening. Van Hoofwegen, 21-year-old, made his debut back in the European Championships in 2016. It's the first time we saw him. Went on to medal in the Paralympic Games as well that same year.
Yeah, and again, we keep saying it, but a number of nations take it in turns almost to get their new wave of swimmers in, and there was definitely a resurgence from the Dutch team. And we saw a lot of youngsters coming through, but again, not just coming through for experience. They went to Europeans. This European Championship environment provides such a good platform to discover new talent. And it is a major championship, so you go through all the procedures, all the preparations that you would go through for a Paralympic Games, but in a slightly, I guess it feels, more friendly environment, just in the sense that there's less people. So, you know, you can be a bit more controlled, and then you're ready then for the Paralympic Games.
And the Dutch the last time, I do remember in Funchal in 2016, it was the Open European Championships as well. We had other countries in as well, but the Dutch were a very young team. They left some of their big hitters at home, didn't they, for those European Championships, but they brought some people through, like Ties van Hoofwegen, like Lisa Brunsma, into the field to give them a taste of what they might expect when they go into Rio 2016.
Yeah, and it absolutely worked out for them. Then they went to the Paralympic Games and they did medal, and they were brilliant. And I think it is a hard balance sometimes to know whether your youngsters are going to benefit or be a bit scared, but actually all experience is good experience, and as long as you can afford to take a big strong team, there's so much that can be learned from this environment.
Well, bit of a learning curve for the swimmers this morning. We had some trouble with the starting mechanism. We started all the races from the opposite end up until now. So the officials just testing those starting mechanisms, making sure everything's operating okay. Ties van Hoefwegen will be the favourite for this one. Nice flexibility there from the Spanish. Make sure they're keeping warm.
Yeah, we'd expect Sanchez there to get a good start, as we can see. An upper limb impairment, good strong legs, get off the block well, use the 15 metres underwater to his advantage, you would expect. But this swimming pool actually isn't that warm. Like, quite often inside the swimming pool you feel like you're sat in a greenhouse, and so actually this waiting around doesn't really affect you. But as the air temperature here isn't ridiculously warm, so actually they do need to keep stretching or limber up, or like Van Hoefwegen, put back on a jumper, because it is a bit chilly, and for the 50 metres it's so important to have those muscles warm right from the start gun, because you've only got about 32 seconds in this race to get warm. That's not enough time.
And it's the S6 class, of course. You were an S6, and they call it kind of the melting pot of all the physical impairments. You get so many different impairments in that S6 class, don't you?
It is true. There is such a range of impairment, and sometimes that makes it difficult to understand. But in reality, what all it means is that all these athletes are deemed to have a similar level of function in the limbs that do work. So it really does depict well the para-swimming or para-sport model in action, because you see these guys race, and we used to race in our SB 600 metre breaststroke, and the top 5 people on the world rankings had completely different impairments, and we all swam the race completely differently, yet we all went pretty much the same time at the end, like when we hit that board at the end. So the S6, sometimes the S6 classification is difficult to understand, but it's always important to remind yourself that ultimately these athletes that you see when they're racing are deemed to have the potential to have a similar level of function in the limbs that they have available to them.
Oh, we'll see some swimmers here, as we said, with leg impairments, not quite getting off the blocks as fast as those who have the arm impairments, who should get a better start, but when the leg impairment swimmers get into the water, they should have the faster swims in the water, and at the end it'll kind of balance itself out. And you see the Spanish swimmers there looking forward to getting off those blocks quickly. You can imagine swimmers with impairments right down the one side of their body, so they'll get a good propulsion from their good leg. I might see some swimmers maybe on this heat. I think everyone's going from the blocks in this heat. We may have some sit starts there on the left hand side. It's the 2 Spanish swimmers there going from the blocks nearest to us, but a good start there in lane number 4, Ties van Hoefwegen. Lane number 5, of course, is clear, but Ties van Hoefwegen way up and into his stroke now. It's a real battle for second place as the Dutch swimmer goes away from the rest of the field. Maybe 2 lanes up from him is Dino Sinovcic from Croatia in second place, but Van Hoefwegen making sure of this one as he comes in lane number 4 in a time of 31.17. So a couple of tenths of a second outside his qualification time, his entry time. So that'll see the Dutch swimmer into the finals, the only one guaranteed at the moment, as there are 7 swimmers in this next heat. But you would think the likes of Sinovcic 33.20 and Rojas Cabrera in 35.88 might be good enough to make that final.
There is the Van Hoefwegen. Again, he needed assistance being held on the block because his balance isn't so great, whereas the guys who we said with strong legs, they just bounced off the start and were with him to the 50 metres marks. But once they're up into the stroke, he dominated that, and you see how fast, how quickly he's spinning his arms over to get through the water as quickly as possible. And he'd be comfortable, he'd be happy with that. It's really difficult to judge a 50 metre freestyle. You can't take your foot off the gas too much because your time massively is reflected. So that'll be good for him.
Yeah, Van Hoefwegen takes that one, 31.17. Zinovcic in second. They should be okay for the final, I think. 0.3 of a second between the two Spanish swimmers. Could that be vital when we come to see the second and final heat? Hopefully there's no more delays. Hopefully they'll have the starting mechanism sorted out. We have the reigning champion in this one, Alexander Komarov, going in lane number 4. Georgios Safaltos from Greece in lane number 5. Komarov will start as the favourite for this one. Yeah, a few teenagers appearing in this. The freestyle. Turkish swimmer Ugur Sinel in lane number 6. Turkey with 2 swimmers there in lane 6 and 7. Another missing lane there in lane number 3, but in lane number 4 and 5, Komarov and Safaltos. Komarov closest to us. White cap, Safaltos going well there in lane number 5, maybe just with the edge. Georgios Safaltos. He's an experienced man too, World Championships under his belt, and he's going to take this one ahead of Komarov. Safaltos takes it, 31.79. Making sure of that place in the final, Georgios Safaltos. Komarov in second, 32.15. And it's the Turkish swimmer, Ugur Sinel, in third place there in 34.98. So it should be good enough for those top 3 to make the final. Fabian Brunner from Germany is fourth, 37.27. Should be good enough as well.
Yeah, and again, we saw a range of starts there, and the 2 guys in the middle, Komarov and Safaltos, were even off the start, both sit starts, but as we see, different techniques. Komarov breathing every stroke, so he'll have a bit more for the final, whereas Safaltos actually kept his head down, as 50 freestylers tend to do, minimised his breathing and kept himself more streamlined. So we can expect Komarov to do less breathing this evening and have a bit more speed.
Safaltos looks back. The result is confirmed there. Safaltos and Komarov in 1 and 2. Sinel in third place for Turkey. Fabian Brunner just checking the results from all the heats. I think Fabian Brunner just missed out in 9th spot by just 0.1 of a second for the German swimmer. That last place in that final goes to Leonardo Renic from Croatia from the first heat. So, yeah, small margins, Liz.
Yeah, as we discussed, that touch is so important in those heat swims, but more so in the 50-metre freestyle, because it's just a smaller range of time between first place and the rest of the field.
Well, moving on to the next event, it's the women's equivalent, 50 freestyle S6. And some of the swimmers, you know them quite well. Number of these swimmers, it's always great. The women's S6 has been really competitive in recent years, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been one of the stronger classifications. I just think, again, because there's such a range of impairment types within it, that people are making gains all of the time and developing their training techniques. And there we see Verena Schott. She was swimming when I was swimming. She was younger than me, obviously, and still going strong. But then Mereshko there, we've seen Violetta Mereshko of the Ukraine. Over the years, she wasn't swimming so much when I was swimming, but she's really developed into an amazing all-round athlete.
What about this young lady, Maisie Summers-Newton? Burst onto the scene last year. Has continued the improvement that she showed in 2017. The 2 Germans, Butler in 2, Schott in lane number 3. From the start there, Mereshko will be up into her stroke very quickly. The favourite in lane number 4, Summers-Newton in 5, and Cordini from Italy in lane number 6. First of the 2 heats, and Mereshko looking really, really good. She was world record holder in this one, now held by Victoria Savtsova, her teammate, who goes in the next heat. But Mereshko, look at that stroke, really, really balanced. The head very, very steady indeed. Mereshko looking great there. You see the overhead shot, great example of technique there from Mereshko, 33.53, and Summers-Newton not far behind at 35.04.
Yeah, a great example there of, like we said, the S6, how it plays out that classification. Mereshko there, really high stroke rate, no use of her legs at all, but really does well at minimizing how much they sway behind her, which is what we saw from that overhead shot. She knows she's up against it from Satslova in the next heat, but she's a tough competitor. We see here, sit start, so she gets that distance and the momentum off the diving block, but doesn't waste any time under the water and is straight up and stroking at a very high pace.
Yeah, it's all horses for courses in terms of technique that the swimmers employ. Some of the swimmers get a good push off, good momentum off the blocks and off the walls. They'll stay under the water for a little bit longer, but those swimmers who don't get that propulsion, best for them just to pop up and get into the stroke as quickly as possible.
Yeah, obviously if you can swim then with everything, then underwater is quicker, but as we can see, it didn't affect Mereshko there. She took that heat comfortably in 33.53 seconds.
So Mereshko, one to beat. Maisie Summers-Newton should be in the final. There is only 6 in the second heat. They're on a shot, just getting the touch over Cordini there by 0.1 of a second. So again, Marina shot, that should be good enough for her to make it into that final. Third place generally should be okay if there's only a 2-heat event, but well, we'll see what happens in this second heat. Some strong swimmers in this one. World record holder goes in the middle, lane number 4, Victoria Savtsova. 2 Great Britain there, Ellie Robinson and Tilly Kearney, and another one of the home swimmers, Nicole Turner. These 4 should be the ones to beat in this one. Nicole Turner, be great to see her get into the final. The home nation supporters coming to life there as they come out onto the pool deck. Irish fans. Sure, I can see Ellen Keane's dad in there, dressed in green.
You can always see Ellen Keane's dad. He always wears his suit. He has a suit made out of the Irish flag. It's always easy spot. He's saving it though, saving it for 100 breaststroke day.
He was saving it for the finals. I'd be disappointed if he hasn't got his Irish suit on in the finals. Bright green.
And it's a great experience for Nicole Turner. She's still young. I mean, she did go to the Paralympic Games, but it's so exciting to swim in your home pool, like in your home event, with a knowledgeable crowd that are all shouting for you. You don't just have to pretend they're shouting for you.
Well, they're certainly behind Nicole Turner from Ireland. Wonder how Savtsova is going to swim. We've seen Savtsova swim some excellent swims, and then sometimes she just doesn't perform, does she?
Yeah, and I think she's got a neurological disability, so it does mean that very much you can wake up and just sometimes your body just doesn't want to play ball, and we've definitely seen that with Savtsova. But on her day, she puts in some, like you said, phenomenal performances.
So Nicole Turner and Savtsova going from the blocks next to them as well. Ellie Robinson recently set a new record in the 50 butterfly. Ellie Robinson was in the Gold Coast, the Commonwealth Games, and won a gold medal for the English team, now representing Great Britain. And Ellie Robinson off to a great start there. Real powerful stroke for Ellie Robinson, but Savtsova, the world record holder, just forging ahead now, the Ukrainian, as they come past the 15-metre mark. They're only 15 to go. Ellie Robinson still sticking in there against Savtsova, and a good swim from the Ukrainian world record holder will take this one. 33.32 for Savtsova. Well, it's just outside that world record mark, but not by much. World record at 32.98. So a good swim from Savtsova, good swim from Ellie Robinson as well.
Yeah, Ellie Robinson is a great racer. She loves getting in, she loves chasing, and she loves the opportunity to be the best. So she won't give up this 50 freestyle without a fight. But there we see Savtsova, just as we said, if she turns up on a day, she's a brilliant swimmer, and 33.32 is a great first swim, great heat swim. She'll be excited to go head-to-head with Mereshko tonight. But as we see here, dives in off the blocks, that's over. Does have a low kick, but actually just comes straight up and into her stroke. She's a very strong swimmer. With her technique, it's sometimes you look at it and you're like, where's she getting her power from? But under the water, she managed to get hold of and move so much water that the speed that she throws her arms over with is very effective.
Yeah, it's affected on all 4 limbs. Tatsova, decent finish there on an extended arm. Always a good thing. And that contributed to a very good time. Tatsova, 33.32, just under a second behind her. Ellie Robinson from Great Britain, and Nicole Turner will secure her place in the final with that swim, 36.06. Tilly Kearney, I think, is also just scraped in as well in 8th place. So we'll have 2 Ukrainians, 3 Great Britain swimmers, 1 from Ireland, 1 Germany, and 1 Italian in that final this evening. So on to the next one, men's 100 freestyle in the S4 class. Again, we've got 2 heats in this one. Combined event as well, Liz. We have really officially S1 to S4. All the classifications taking part in this one, but there's no S1s and 2s. It's only S3 and S4 swimmers taking part in this one. Only 1 S3, in fact. Ostapchenko, swimmer in lane number 6 there, the Ukrainian. Back to the bottom end again. There's Darko Duric. There's the man from Slovenia. Medalist before at the World Championships and at the European Championships. Medalist in this one, Darko Duric, the last Europeans back in 2016. It's Darko Duric there in lane number 4, and Andrei Derevinsky from Ukraine, lane number 5. Also in lane number 3, it is Ami Adon from Israel. He's going well, actually. An Israeli swimmer in the early stages. 18-year-old. This is his debut in a major championships, and he's gone off fast.
Yeah, and again, the Israelis, they don't have a big team, but we've seen them this morning doing really well in these heats, featuring highly in these heats. And actually, sometimes you don't need a lot of people, you just need good people. And if you've got some good role models that you can follow, then anything's possible. And that's what we're seeing here this morning from this Israeli team.
Yeah, certainly good start there from this young man, Ami Omer Adaon. 18 years of age, and he's going to start with an excellent swim here. First in his international debut with 126.76. And that's an amazing time there. 5-second improvement on his entry time. Darko Duric also under the 130 mark. So the man who was silver medalist last Europeans could have secured his place in the final. Derevinsky in 3rd spot for Ukraine, 144, just ahead of his teammate Ostapchenko, who finishes there in 146.60. Yes, 3 swimmer, but there is a young man who has taken this one. Looks very powerful when you see him on the screen there. He used that strength there in that 100 freestyle.
Absolutely, and then when it's your debut, you're fearless. Because he's starting in the water, but as we saw, not like straight up and into his stroke. No push off at all. So Darko Duric did get a slightly better start, but then as we see him come into the turn, he's already started turning his body before he hits the wall. He didn't use his hand to touch the wall, and he just went for it and he attacked it, and should be really happy. And when you got youth on your side, good personal best time, boom.
Well, Adon is right at the top there, 126.76. Darko Duric in 2nd, Derevinsky in 3rd. Should be okay for the final. Ostapchenko in 4th position there, 146.60. He's got a chance to come back tonight. And swimmers making their way out for the 2nd heat here of this 100 freestyle S4. Hamid Demir, Dino Radets, Michael Schoenmaker, David Smetany, and Tommy Brasha. That's the lineup for this second heat. Getting some experienced names in there. 3 swimmers in the middle. It's Tommy Brasha from Croatia. In lane number 6, Schoenmaker starting in the water. Smetany next to him. Smetany just bringing his legs up to the wall there, flipping onto his front at the start.
Yeah, he has no use of his legs from his torso down, so they just drag behind him because he's quite a tall man. So actually he's developed, and that's exactly what we're talking about. You've got to play it out for how you're best suited. So he's realised actually the time it takes, if he just pushes off the wall and then gets his legs up, they act as an anchor and they slow him down massively. So he's now developed this new starting technique that we don't see really anybody else employ, but it's working for him because, as we can see here now, he is up with Schoenmaker and he hasn't minimised the deficit that he would experience if he then started like everybody else.
It's quite often when countries come to these championships, they see new people, they see people with similar disabilities, and they think, oh, hang on a minute, he's doing something a little bit different. Let's have a try at that. And it's always good learning. That's what the World Series has been very good at.
Yeah, and I think that's why we see now the youngsters develop so much more quickly, and the times they're doing are quicker because all of the developing that the older athletes have done provide a shortcut almost and a toolkit of how to do it most efficiently and effectively for these youngsters. And here we see it's an interesting race. They're together. Like David Smetany is going to let Schoenmaker take the victory, but there wasn't a lot in that.
Well, 0.19 of a second, in fact, between the two leaders, the two experienced men, and they touch just under the 130, one just over. So not quite as fast as the first heat. Adon will be the fastest into that final this evening. Darko Duric next, but these two men, Michael Schoenmaker, great ambassador for the Dutch team. Gold medalist back in London in the breaststroke. Now onto the freestyle for Schoenmaker, getting his head down off that turn. Smetany just having a look over there. I think he's got a little bit more in the tank. David Smetany. Again, great French swimmer. It's very close at the end there, wasn't it? Smetany just stretched slightly behind Schoenmaker. But it won't matter on this occasion. It's when it comes to the final, that's when these positions will matter, because the two at the top there, Schoenmaker and Smetany, will make the final. Mitrovino Radets in third spot, and Tommy Brasha, they should be safely in as well. Top 4 swimmers from each of the 2 heats should make their way into those finals this evening. The session gone along pretty quickly, Liz. Hour and a half in already.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Just waiting for the start time for the next event to come. That's the 100 backstroke S2. Pretty much on time today, but occasionally swims, if there is a delay like we had for the timing, that'll hold us back a little bit. You can't start the event quicker than the scheduled time. If there is a delay, it'll start a little bit later.
Yeah, and that's because sorry, Paul. That's just because when you're given, as an athlete, when you're given your scheduled time, you do all of your preparation geared towards that start time so that you can maximise your performance. So if you have a warm-up timed and then they tried, I mean, they can't do it, but if they then tried to bring an event forward, you wouldn't be fully prepped and ready to go. So that is the reason why they can't move the scheduled time any further forward. It wouldn't be fair on the athletes, and obviously they try to avoid a delay, But in the event of a delay, you can always do an additional warm-up or put a few more clothes on to keep yourself warm, or do a land warm-up or a bit of extra to keep yourself motivated. But you can't gain that back if they move your event forward, which is the reason that you'll never see a race start before its published time.
Well, it's important for everyone to keep warm. Maybe more difficult for some of the classifications than others. We're into the S1 and S2 classes now, and again these swimmers all wrapped up as they come out onto the poolside. You said, Liz, it's not particularly warm up here. Not sure if it's just us here in the gods here, with a great view of this National Aquatic Centre in Dublin. But these swimmers in the S1 and S2 classes are ones with the most severe disability in the Paralympic programme. So they'll be working hard to keep those muscles warm, to get them warmed up, to keep them warm as they come out onto the poolside. It's one length of the pool here, 50 backstroke, S1 and S2s combined. There is only 9 swimmers in this swim, so you only have to lose one to make it to the final. And in this one we have 2 Ukrainians, 1 Italian, there he is, Francesco Bottella, and 1 Israeli swimmer, Yad Shalabi, trying to progress themselves into those top 8 tonight. 5 more to come in the second heat. But a lot of these guys, Liz, have been around for quite a number of years, very experienced campaigners in the S1 and S2 class here at the championships. And
again, as we've been discussing all morning, it's because there's a lot to adapt to. It takes them a long time to figure out what's best. So once they figure that out, then they are the world leaders in their events.
Well, there's Bottella, 29-year-old from Italy. We have 1 S1 swimmer here. That is Shalabi from Israel. And again, he's swimming up against the S2s. Not a separate event for the S1s, it's a combined event. And they'll swim together. And interesting, the starting techniques, and every one of the swimmers being held by the feet. And that, again, is one of these developments once we saw a few years ago. One of the swimmers came along and said, right, okay, we can get up to the level position and get our bodies level, we can get held by the feet. And
and it's weird because they're not able to hold on to the diving block that well. They get 0 propulsion from their legs, so it makes sense to minimize the distance they have to swim by elongating their bodies as much as they can. And then we see all 4 swimmers in this heat using double arm backstroke, which often, as we go further up the classifications, we don't see. But no 2 swimmers are using the same range because they're just maximising what they have, the capabilities that they have. Then we see in lane 3, Bottella, actually his knees are still bent because he doesn't have the ability to straighten them out, and that then acts as a bit of an anchor, so he needs more powerful pull to maintain the speed.
All employing the double arm backstroke, and looks like Shalabi is employing that technique to the best effect here. Shalabi just about coming into the finish here, the Israeli swimmer. It's a good swim from him, finishes with the 1 arm at the end, as does Bottella. 1:16.53 for Shalabi. Maybe the swimmers here, they're aware that they're only going to have to lose 1, maybe holding back a little bit. Bondarenko there in lane number 4 with a decent time, 1:22, and that'll see him into the final. Golovko goes 1:33.23. He'll have to wait for the second heat, but the top 3 will make it. Very good start there for Bondarenko. He was the fastest away, but once they got up into the stroke, Shalabi from Israel there on the left of the middle 2 lanes there leads them. Coming into the finish there, you'll notice right at the finish, he swings over just with the 1 arm there at the end. Shalabi, the Israeli swimmer, really unlucky in the major championships. Hasn't won a major championship medal, being 4th place many occasions. Shalabi, I would like to see him get on the medal podium.
Yeah, it would be great. It's always that sometimes you think, is it ever going to happen for me? And hopefully, maybe tonight could be his night, or at least this week could be his week.
Well, Shalabi will lead that heat one more heat to come. Tella second place, Bondarenko in third. They'll make the final. Golovko will have to wait for the next heat to see who will make it. They'll be in good shape though. Golovko, swimmers with slower entry times going in this second heat. We have 5 of them making their way out onto the pool deck. Just about ready to go there for this second heat. Alexei Talai from Belarus, Anton Kol from Ukraine, Jacek Czech, the experienced man from Poland, goes in lane number 4. Mysterious Makar Dimitris and Dimitros Karapidis, 2 Greek swimmers, go in 5 and 6. And again, an experienced lineup. Makar Dimitris from Greece, he's the youngest in the field at 27. There's Anton Kol, 28-year-old from Ukraine. The Ukrainians have been really successful in the lower numerical classifications, haven't they?
Yeah, and it's meant that we've seen them top medal tables in championships a number of times, because you do get rewarded for your strength and your depth. And Ukrainians, that is one thing that they've done very well, is target areas where they can get medals across the board.
I wonder if Anton Kol pick up a medal for them. There's Jacek Czech, the 42-year-old. For a while, 4 times at the World Championships back to 2010. He's a Paralympian, was in London, also in Rio as well. Jacek Czech won a medal at the last European Championship, silver medal in this one. He was delighted to do that. Remember his celebration at the end of that one, Jacek Czech. And he'll start as the favourite for this one. He's the only swimmer in this field that has an entry time of under the 1 minute mark, and he's well capable of doing that. 59.14 is his entry time. So that's Jacek Czech in the centre of those 5 swimmers. Again, just the one swimmer employing that different starting technique down here in lane number 2.
Yeah, and he's got a slightly different impairment. He's got limb deficiency in all 4 limbs, so actually he wouldn't have got any benefit from being held on by his legs, because his strength comes from his upper body. But here we see, and again, in the first heat, everybody did double arm backstroke, whereas here we're seeing different types of technique once again, and Makar Dimitris is using that single arm backstroke, very flat stroke, in contrast to Jacek Czech's double arm backstroke. But really you have to play to the strengths, and we see the age of these athletes older than many of the other classification groups, because the number of years that it takes to develop the optimum technique and the optimum strength, because they don't have many limbs that can play out to their 100% efficiency, then that's why we're seeing these older athletes still dominating.
Makar Dimitris got a great record in the European Championships, 10 medals to his name over the years. He started back in 2009 and he was just about reaching in there to the finish. I'm not sure if he finished, we'll need to watch that finish again. He looked like he glided in a long way there, Makar Dimitris.
Yeah, he used that momentum that he had from his arm stroke to take him in, because again, like you said, Paul, they've only got to drop 1 swimmer from these heats. So, and actually, even though it's 50-metre backstroke, the length of the time it takes the S1 swimmers and S2 swimmers to swim it means it's not a sprint for them. So they have to conserve as much energy as they can, because we've said it's quite a close race for the finals this evening, because they need to optimise their recovery.
Yeah, it's a big chance for Makar Dimitris, who want to make sure he's got plenty of energy left. Yeah, touches in 107.33. Make her way out of the water from the side. Jacek Czech in second place, Anton Kohl in third, and Karapidis in fourth. Here's the start. As you said, Liz, the alternate backstroke. There's the double arm backstrokers there. So 2 swimmers employing the alternate, 2 swimmers employing the double arm. There's Karapidis. There's Makro Dimitris now coming into the end. Again, I think he maybe just mistimed this finish. Could do a double take there. I thought he touched the wall and glided out, but yeah, it was a long glide. And again, you are just taking it easy on the backstroke. Very easy just to get that timing a little bit wrong. You're going a little bit slower than you normally would have done. Good time for Makro Dimitris, 107.33. Jacek Czech will have a lot more to give in the final. Anton Kohl and Dimitros Karapidis will also be in that final this evening. Looks like the man to miss out will be Talai from Belarus. Interesting event coming out now, Liz. It's the S11 class. I like watching the S11 swimmers as well, because they're swimmers with no vision at all, and some of them are just excellent to watch. The S11, the techniques that are employed by these completely blind swimmers. Rory Sudzilov from Belarus goes in the centre. There's the German Johannes Weinberg. There's Sudzilov. Also got Carlos Serbian from Ukraine. Experienced Viktor Smirnov in 5 from Ukraine. Salvatore Urso. And the new Italians as well in 6. And Marco Meneses from Portugal going in lane number 7. Right up alongside that lane rope, it looks like it is Viktor Smirnov in lane number 5. And Sudzilov keeping really straight in the middle. Not on the lane ropes at all, but just as he said that, he's right over to the right-hand side of the lane ropes, and he's veering all over, but it looks like it is Sudzilov there. Will take that one eventually from Viktor Smirnov, but he was doing such a great job. But curse of the commentator, Liz, as soon as I said it, he veered off to the right.
Yeah, and absolutely, we would expect them to be swimming against the lane rope. A lot of the S11s are up and to that lane rope as quickly as possible, because it's how they then direct themselves. But actually, Sudzilov did very well at swimming down the middle. But then, as you said, when it does then go wrong, or they find the lane rope, it comes as a bit of a shock. But many athletes don't enjoy swimming against the lane rope because it hurts.
Yeah, they're pretty unforgiving, these anti-wave lane ropes. Experienced Viktor Smirnov there in the left-hand side of the 2 yellow lanes. They both got off pretty well. Smirnov just veering to the right there, just brushing the lane ropes to give him a little bit of direction. Sudzilov was a bit more severe when he hit those lane ropes, shaking his head at the end there. Swimmers are all wearing blacked out goggles, so they have to come out of the pool. They'll get those blacked out goggles checked just to make sure that there's no light coming through these goggles. Every one of these S11 swimmers, some of them have very, very slight vision, maybe light perception, just to make it a level playing field. Swimmers are wearing the blacked out goggles to make sure that everyone is in the same conditions when they swim on their events here in the S11 class. Sudzilov took that first heat. There's the second heat. The favourite, the fastest entry time is Garis Matakis from Lithuania. Don't often see Lithuanian medalists here at the Para-Swimming European Championships. There is Polish swimmer Kowski. He's going in lane number 5. And that is Miroslav Smirka we just saw there. The Czech swimmer. Was a medalist at the championships, World Championships in Mexico last year. Miroslav Smirka hoping to add another European medal, but Garis Matakis, favourite here from Lithuania. Fast start there. So nearest to us, but Matakis with that green cap of Lithuania is up and stroking well in the early stages. He is just hugging the lane rope on his left-hand side there. He doesn't want to go any closer to that lane rope. Good directional find there from Matakis, but coming through there in lane number 5, Makowski from Poland might just take this one. Makowski bashes that lane rope with his shoulder, but he does get the touch. 27.66, Matakis 0.3 of a second behind.
Yeah, and as you said, Paul, this is such an exciting race because ultimately these races, they can't see anybody else, so they're completely trusting their stroke and their technique. And it can go wrong, not because they're not swimming most quickly, but because they don't take the most direct path down that 50 metres. And as we saw there, Makowski was definitely the fastest swimmer. He'd be lucky, he'd be glad to take that win. But that, look there, you can see a bruise on his left shoulder where he crunched into that lane rope as he veered across path.
Yeah, and it was a big hit that he took there in the closing stages of that one. It's a very good start there from Edgaras Matakis. And he hugged that left lane rope, and he was on the lane rope as well, but there's Makowski bashing into that lane rope with his shoulder and going across to the centre of the lane at the end there. The tapper's doing a good job. Make sure these swimmers know where the finish is. Makowski didn't quite finish on full stroke there, but it should be good enough for him. The result is confirmed. He'll be fastest into the final, but it's going to be really, really tight. 27.66 for Makowski. Matakis in second spot, 27.96. So 3 swimmers in the 27 range. Victor Smirnov just over that, 28.04. So 4 swimmers, very, very close. Anyone could win that tonight, Liz.
Yeah, and it'll be a really, really exciting race to watch. And it'll be about who chooses the right side of the lane rope and who manages to stick to their side.
Well, from the S11s down to the S14s, SB14 to be exact. All the SB events are breaststroke events. All the SM events are medley events, and the other ones are just prefixed with an S. So if you see an SB, you'll know it's a breaststroke event. The class for this one is SB14. There is the lineup. Connor Morrison from Great Britain goes in the centre lane in lane number 4. He's got next to him Adam Venom from Norway in lane number 5. There is Misha Palazzo from Italy. So Xenia Palazzo earlier. Misha now going in line number 2. Connor Morrison, favourite for this one. He was top of the world rankings last year. Again, one of these Great Britain swimmers who was due to make his international debut in the Mexico World Championships in 2017. Great Britain team didn't end up going because of the Mexican earthquake and the rescheduling of the event because of that. So Connor Morrison's had to wait a little time for this debut, but he's grasping it in the early stages.
Yeah, and I think when you're young and you're excited and you're raring to go, you're fearless, as we've said before, and as we see, he's gone down this first 50 fearless, touching 0.65 seconds ahead of Jonsson, who's closest to him. And then we see him, breaststroke's a difficult one. Sometimes you can go out too early and everything starts to hurt. But here, Connor Morrison has a commanding lead as he comes into the final 25 metres.
Well, Connor Morrison, pleased to get this one under his belt. He has started really well. He's followed by the Norwegian Adam Venom, who was a medalist at the World Championships. Norwegian team did go to those World Championships, and Adam Venom, medalist in this event. The breaststroke, the bronze medal he took. Morrison takes it though, 108.57. Adam Venom in second position, and Robert Isaac Johnson in third spot. But Connor Morrison, be pleased with that one. One more heat to come after this. Connor Morrison secured his place in the final, 108.57. And this, of course, Liz, the S14 class, swimmers with an intellectual impairment. And, you know, sometimes you said that swimmers get carried away, the youth swimmers get carried away, go a little bit too fast, pace it a little bit wrongly, you might say. And the S14 class, I mean, that is part of the impairment potentially.
Yeah, definitely. We often see it where they all go off down the first half of a race very, very quickly and then pay for it down the second half. Or, again, as we've said, as the years go by, people develop tactics. And sometimes a coach will say to him, right, stick with blah, blah, or person X down the first 50. And then when you get to the certain marker on the lane rope, go. And it's about building up that relationship between athlete and coach. So you get that understanding of how to maximize an S14 athlete's potential.
Well, second heat is on its way. There's the result of the first heat confirmed. Conor Morrison, 108.57, his international debut. And he started with a win in that first heat. His teammate will be one of the favourites for this second heat, Scott Quinn, the reigning European champion. Next to one of the big names in the S14 class, Mark Evers of the Netherlands. Scott Quinn and Mark Evers know each other really well. They go in the middle lanes. Scott Quinn has had the better of Mark Evers in this event in recent years. Mark Evers has been the world and European champion in this one a couple of times. The two swimmers in 4 and 5 there. Swimmers who have won this European title on the last 3 occasions between them. Scott Quinn, the reigning champion, that black cap of Great Britain, taking them through. Next to him, the Ukrainian Vasyl Krajnic in second place, with Evers down in third spot there. But Scott Quinn just be looking to secure his place in the final. And he started pretty well. There's a good lead for Scott Quinn coming through now.
Yeah, and Scott Quinn's an example of an athlete who's got better and better with age. Many of the British swimmers, they're youngsters and they focus on a young team. But Scott Quinn, we've seen him develop, we've seen him lose races by fingernail touches, but it's made him stronger and made him work hard. And here we see him taking the touch in 107.23.
Yeah, and that's faster than Conor Morrison in the first heat. Mark Evers also in the 107 range. Good time there for Scott Quinn. The world record stands to another Great Britain swimmer, Aaron Moores, now retired at 106.33, so under a second outside the world record mark there for Scott Quinn. So he'll be delighted with that one. And he swam it, looked like he swam it pretty controlled, Scott Quinn.
Yeah, he's learned. Again, he's someone who's been taught and had a great relationship. He's gone back to a club. He's at Warren Barton. He's been there for a very long time. And we see that with these S14 athletes. They'll have the same coach or the same team for a number of years because they get confidence in the understanding that people have of them. And he doesn't panic anymore because he's not a big guy. He's quite small for a swimmer, but he doesn't let that make any difference to him.
Now Scott Quinn takes that one, 107.23. Great time there from Scott Quinn, the reigning champion, looking to retain his European title here in the 100 breaststroke SB14. He's always well supported from his family. I wonder if they're over here just now. I would bet they would be. Scott Quinn's family, we're just looking around for them, can't see them, but I'm sure they... Oh, there they are, right out the back there. His dad standing up right up the back of the stand. So
yeah, I've got them.
Yeah, knew his family would be here somewhere. I'm sure he'd have people watching on the live stream back home. Well, he'll be pleased to know that Scott Quinn did very well in that one. He'll be fastest into the final, ahead of Mark Evers and Krajnic from Ukraine in third, with Conor Morrison in fourth. Promises to be another great final here this evening. There's the Dutch enjoying themselves here. A smattering of supporters here for this early session. Got towels on the blocks just to stop the...
Be 18 years old.
Well, there's our final heat swim just gone there for this morning's session. And we see some of the highlights of the swims that we've seen earlier. It's been a nice morning session, Liz.
Yes, a nice introduction. I say nice. It's been comfortable. There's been some fast swimming, some new talent on the blocks, and some exciting races set up, which at this time of the Paralympic cycle, it's all about getting in and getting race practice, and that's exactly what we've seen. So we'll see some head-to-heads tonight, and that always makes for an exciting final session.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see some of the finals this evening. We didn't have heats for all the finals that we're going to enjoy tonight. So we'll have some more events to enjoy tonight in this final session. We'll see the swimmers that we saw this morning who qualified for those finals make their way into those finals, and they'll be preparing for that this afternoon, making their way back for the start of this final session in about 6 hours time. And the final start at 1800 hours here local time in Dublin. We see some local swimmers as well. We saw James Scully in what could be his last ever international competition in his home pool, making his way into that 200 freestyle final. Nicole Turner will also be there for Ireland. I'm not sure if there are any other Irish swimmers taking the start as well, but there will be an Irish representative in the finals, so that'll please the home crowd. The crowd have been very good this morning. Swimmers have been good as well. We've seen some excellent performances. I'm sure we're going to get some records tonight. I'm sure some people just holding back in the heats this morning. We saw some impressive swims. Claire Soupio, the great French swimmer as well, former Olympian. She's looking good.
We also saw some swims where people didn't need to go all out to make it into that final. So a lot of people comfortably qualified for the heats, and we'd expect them to have a lot more to give. And that's always exciting because then people react differently. Like sometimes you can swim in the morning and feel amazingly good, comfortably, but then when you go to those next gears, actually your body just doesn't respond in the way you thought it was going to. So that's when it sets up for some interesting races, maybe some upsets, you know, going against the form guide. So yeah, first night of finals is setting up to be exciting.
That's the first night of 7 days of action here in Dublin. Again, just going through some of the highlights from the heats this morning. Look forward to seeing these swimmers in action again. We've got all sorts of distances again. We start off with the 200 freestyles as individual medley events. There's backstroke and breaststroke events for us to enjoy, and also some butterfly as well. I don't think we saw any butterfly heats this morning, but we'll certainly see some finals this evening. A range of classifications right down from the lower numerical classifications, those who have severe physical impairment, right down from the S1s right up to the S10s, those who have minimal impairments, through to all of the visually impaired classes, S11 through to S13s. S11, of course, we'll look forward to that one. The exciting 50 freestyles for those swimmers who have no vision at all. And that final event that we saw this morning, the SB14 for men, promises to be an absolute cracker. And Scott Quinn there qualifying just under a second outside the world record mark held by his teammate Aaron Moores. And Aaron Moores has held that for a couple of years now, and Scott Quinn would dearly love to take that record, wouldn't he?
Oh yeah, and he's definitely got it within his capabilities, you know. He's loving his swimming more now, I think, than he ever has, and that's great at 28 years old. He is the senior member of that British team.
So, a lot to look forward to tonight. There is the S11. You see the tappers at the end of the lane. What an important job that they have. And the final event there that we see was the SB14 men. Conor Morrison with his international debut, just taking that first heat and Scott Quinn, his teammate from Great Britain, taking that second heat. So thank you, Liz, for your company. Hope you've enjoyed your morning session. It's been a good start to the competition. We have 7 days of action. This is day number 1. Thank you for joining us today. Join us again. It's 1800 hours local time tonight here in Dublin.